Hello, both sides of the conversation family. We welcome you to this virtual space crafted especially for you. My name is Jada Curry, and I'm both sides of the conversation's marketing director and graphics design specialist. I want to take some time to ground us all as a community into this space we are about to open up in, so let's go through our community standards. Both sides of the conversation is providing a safe and honest space for open conversation, so we ask that you all be respectful of that. We also ask that you be respectful of each panelist, host, and participant. We do encourage healthy debates and conversations. Don't personalize anything with anyone. This includes name-calling, bullying, trolling, or shaming. This will not be allowed or tolerated. Your perspective is yours. It is not a prescription. You do not have to agree, but show respect. These community standards apply to all of our live shows and any virtual spaces that we hold on social media, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We want to make sure that we are caring for each other as a community. This is our priority in all of our endeavors as both sides of the conversation. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's show and continue to stay in touch with us via YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or all of them. All right, thank you for listening and see you soon.
Welcome, everybody, to Both Sides of the Conversation. I'm John Henry, Executive Director. Today is Tuesday, so you know what that means. We're going to have another Hidden Gem segment. Tonight, we have a phenomenal Hidden Gem coming on. Tonight, we'll be bringing her up shortly. And then I just want to say prayers to the other two hidden gems that were supposed to be on tonight, traveling, things taking place. Hopefully they get back safely. We'll get them back on later in the upcoming weeks. But with that being said, just want to have a couple of community announcements. It is we coming off of this 4th of July weekend. There was a lot of fireworks, a lot of things happening in the community. Unfortunately, we did have one of the most violent weekends across this country and here in the Bay Area as well. A lot of gunshots, a lot of gunfire. A lot of things taking place over the holiday weekend. So we still have a lot of work to do, community. We're just going to keep pushing through and trying to figure out solutions and come up with ideas to help curb some of this violence in our community. Hopefully with a lot of the resources and some of the programming that's coming out for our communities, we can impact the young people and the people of our community. It's just going to take a lot of work. It's never ending process, but we're going to get there. We're just going to keep fighting. It takes a village, and we are the village. We will be resilient, and we will continue to impact our community, our young people, and change that paradigm, the thinking process. That's sometimes the negative thinking process that impacts our community. With that being said, before we move on, this past weekend, I want to give a huge shout out again to the City Eats. We had a phenomenal feed, blessing the community, over 1,100 meals out to the community to support those in need. Thank you to all the volunteers, the sponsors, the donors, the young people. Just proud of all of the young people on the 4th of July weekend coming out, supporting those in need. What a big, big deal that is. You know, me, I'm all about my young people here, and it's nice to see young people when we talk about changing the narrative and seeing what it looks like to be young, Black here in San Francisco. Just want to say, wow, how many young people came out and supported those in need. And then I want to give a huge shout out to our Both Sides of Conversation team for coming out, supporting the community as well. Thank you, City Eats, for all you continue to do. We will continue to support you in your efforts as we do every first Saturday of every month to bless our community. So just happy to be out there with them. And then also want to give a shout out to all of the sponsors. Man, want to give Majid Crawford another shout out, man, for making an amazing donation to Both Sides of Conversation. I think he kicked off something, and I think other people started getting their spirit. People are reaching out, supporting both sides of the conversation. So I want to thank my brother Majid Crawford and NCLF, the entire organization, for supporting and the continued support from community. It takes a community to continue to do what we're trying to do here. People are starting to see what it's about and how we can impact each other, bringing the resources and information to the community. So thank you, community, for sticking behind us as we move forward and continue to grow this platform. I want to thank Collective Impact, YCD, Black to the Future, and all of the organizations that support both sides of the conversation. It's always nice to have that type of support, and to our community partners who continue to do things behind the scenes and helping out, man. It takes everybody, and we appreciate you all. Tonight, Nate Ford is not going to be here tonight. He is still in LA with the team. They in basketball tournaments, so continue to pray for them on their safe travels as they come back to the Bay Area. I can't wait to get all the information to see how many of the tournaments they took this weekend, but looking forward to see how that's going to take place and how did they do with our young people. So thank you for all of that. And lastly, just want to say, we're going to continue to pray for the families in Florida. I know this past weekend they finished the demolition of the other part of the building. And it looks like the number of death is going to increase. So just want to continue to send our condolences to those families, across the country that they're being impacted. So we're going to keep them in our prayers. And here in the Bay Area, we're just going to continue to do the things that we're doing to work together. I want to give a big shout out to Jace Young family. This past weekend was a year of the death of his young son, Jason's son, Jace Young. He's the 6-year-old who was killed in San Francisco by gunfire. These type of events continue to happen. But I know last weekend we celebrated it. And, it's still a emotional thing to see a young person have his life taken so young. But community, we got to do better. We're going to continue to do our part here at Both Sides of Conversation, mentoring our young people, working with the community, trying to find other avenues to keep our people in the community active. So with that being said, I'm going to close my mouth now and go ahead and bring up tonight's hidden gem. This sister right here is phenomenal in the community, in all of the community functions, networking, connecting with people. She's doing a lot of stuff for our young people, and just happy to have her on tonight to talk about some of the things that she's doing and her program and how she's impacting the young people in our community. So with that being said, I'm gonna bring up Attica Bowden, and she's going to go ahead and introduce herself to community and let everybody know what she's doing for a community. Oh, you got to unmute yourself. You're having a John Henry moment. Unmute yourself.
That's right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for having me, John Henry. Thank you for following up between you and I as soon as we said there was something magical for us to collaborate on. And I think it's been less than 3 weeks since we first talked offline, and here we are making it happen. So I will give a little background to who I am. My name is Attica Bowden. I am a native San Franciscan, but also what I call a native Philmonian, born and raised in Banneker Homes, and went to public school, graduated from Galileo High School in 1989, and then started my journey towards getting into the San Francisco Fire Department. Um, I think I started in 1991, and it took me 6 years through some hurdles within my own story. I started with, and at that time, I had a felony. They wouldn't let me in. Just couldn't pass the criminal background, and I fought through 3 tests to get my charges reduced, to get a misdemeanor, to then say yes, I am still worthy of being a civil servant in the city and county of San Francisco. So between 1997 to today, I've sat as a firefighter, I've driven the chief, I've been on the ambulance, I've been an arson investigator, a lieutenant, a captain, and I presently sit in my 24th year as a chief in the fire department. And I think for me at this point, the biggest give back is to give back to my community and make sure that this opportunity of a career option and choice is not lost in me, but that I make sure that members of our community, most importantly, our young adults trying to find their way, are aware of the opportunity and furthermore are given some guidance. And so from that, I have started a foundation. It is titled Dusty's Fishing Well. I started that nonprofit organization in 2018. It is affectionately named after my mom, who passed away that same year. And it's just about providing educational enrichment, one, to our teenagers, and then two, providing a career readiness program to our young adults, 18 to 24. So just trying to collaborate with good brothers in our community like John Henry and good organizations that are aligned in the same vision to truly make some changes in our community and at the end truly change the trajectory of some of our young adults' lives. So that's kind of my story.
Definitely powerful stuff. We happy to have you on here. We've been trying to get Tammy Turner. We've been trying to get some of the Black firefighters to come on. And I know they're busy, but we're going to keep pushing. But glad to have you here to kind of break the firefighter ice because we've been reaching out to them. And I know Tammy's going to get us some people on here. And I've been reaching out to Jason and some of the firefighters of the community that we know. Brother Stevenson and the number of them, trying to get them to come on because we do want to highlight and support all you firefighters for the work that you do in our community all the time. Keep us safe. I know over the weekend there was a number of house fires from fireworks and different things, so I know they're out there busy, but definitely want to highlight and salute our SF fire people. They are doing some phenomenal things in the community, starting with you and your program. So one of the questions I wanted to ask about the EMT program that you're doing. This program is for youth 18 to 24 years old, and it is a paid stipend program. How were you all able to pull that off? One of the biggest things I've been advocating here, when it comes to job readiness and getting our young people equipped to working in the field is using an apprentice model, right? Making sure that our young people are paid while they learn on the job, because a lot of times, in our community, with the disadvantage of income and different things that impact us, it's kind of hard to commit to a program and not make money. So how were you able to think about that and put that up? I think this is phenomenal. So tell the people, how did you do that?
So I think what we really advocated on was exactly what you just spoke to, which is if you really want them to, who are our target audience? If we are trying to catch and grab young men and women who are wobbling about not making the right decisions to earn money, how can I totally get them to, no pun intended, drop the bag and completely focus on making this shift of how to earn income? So is $1,000 really enough? Or does that leave them still trying to come to my program and then go do what they do afterwards? Is $2,000 enough? Well, we're getting closer. The motivation to say, hey, I just need you to you got to trust the process. And the money needed to be big enough to say, trust the process. So we came with what we thought was a decent dollar amount and proposed that to our funders and ask, can we do this at least for the pilot and see what our outcomes are? And put a lot of pressure on us as an organization because now we have to show up and show out. You know, big cream of the crop, young people who, and they're truly support them through the 16 weeks. So very happy to say that we started with 15 participants, graduated 13, and at present we have 9 who are qualified because there's a state registry state testing that you have to take, which is usually the biggest hurdle. So 9 of our participants have completed that test first time around and are now eligible to be EMTs in the city and county of San Francisco. Those are better than national numbers for this kind of program.
Wow. And what does that number look like when you're talking about, you know, the young people coming in? I know in San Francisco it was for a number of years, you know, a huge gap in African Americans getting into the fire department. Have we seen that gap close, or are you seeing the same amount of gap when it comes to the representation of African Americans in the San Francisco Fire Department?
That's a good question, Don Henry. So I can tell you when I first came in the department that there were approximately 40 African American young women or African American women in different ranks. And I think presently we're actually sitting in a team. So we may be at 17 or 16. It is on my radar to help promote the opportunity to our African American women. It is on my radar to figure out, where are my women? Where are the young me's, the 20-year-olds, the 25-year-old me's who would say, yes, I will take on this opportunity. Let me see if I can do it. But overall, yes, the numbers are increasing. I think we are able to hold on in our numbers for the African American males, but definitely for African American females, we are struggling.
Wow. Well, it's good to see you there, and you know, through your leadership, bringing up some of these young cohorts up under you, definitely, you know, get some of the young ladies in the community motivated. I know it was always the physical part that always kind of deterred ladies, but just seeing you and doing the program that you're doing now, I know the program is 16 weeks for young adults for the EMT. How many of these young people are actually transitioning to either fire paramedics or into the actual fire department? Or are they all kind of like, they go through the EMT and they kind of stuck in that realm?
All right, did you write these questions down before? Because you said you're just good. Okay.
No, it's just off the head. It's just, you know, I'm just thinking off the head.
It's
Nothing on both sides of the conversation is scripted. Okay. One thing about both sides of the conversation, we are 100% authentic. It's out the heart.
I love it.
Nothing. We keep it real. This is all about real, just off the head.
It is a good question. And so I'm sure, you know, people are asking. So it takes a minute. So they're not just sitting in limbo. The goal is within the program job placement at the end. It is one of the key components of our supportive services. So at present, we have some positions that members are going to be interviewing for like a trainee paid internship with the fire department. We have our what we call employee partners for the private sector. And then there's always going to be a couple who are actually reaching beyond EMT already. So 2 of our members from this last cohort, they took a semester off. For college, they were already deep into their road towards becoming doctors. The EMT completion is a buildup on their resume. It was a place for them to also get some hands-on experience. So just the way in tradition that the numbers go, everybody is not going to be looking to become an EMT. But we are, so our class that just graduated May 28th, we are still in a job placement phase with them, supporting them through building their resumes, connecting them to do like some group interviews with some private ambulance. And we'll continue to work with them as long as they stay connected with us, because they become a part of our village in helping them with job placement.
Yeah, see, that's phenomenal. You must have been reading my mind because that's where I was going. The next part is, because a lot of times, and I'm in a lot of these community meetings and these organizations, and we're talking about programming and getting our young people to work. And a lot of times they go through the training. It's hard to really navigate and get those city jobs or get those real career driven jobs. And, I'm always on these calls screaming when people talk about jobs, right? Because I always feel like there's a difference. And people say, no, it's not. And I go, yes, it is, because jobs is something that anybody can do, right? When you talk about careers, there's something special that everybody can't just walk off the street. When we talk about jobs, I always think of like, the laborer or the street cleaner or the crosswalk. Anybody could, like, with a little bit of knowledge, do that, right? But when we start talking about careers, we're talking about sustainability. We're talking about a skill set, right? And I think your program is creating a skill set, and I think it's very important. But the main thing is, how do we get these organizations and how do we get these programs to really connect where the city is invested, so that these kids, that especially I'm sure a lot of the kids that you're working with are coming from, District 10 or from real impoverished areas or high crime areas, and we need that support, right? So how do we get the city to understand like what you're doing, and how do we get those so that we can commit to, maybe 5% or 3% of those graduates, guaranteed to get opportunities, because I think that's very important. A lot of times, we think about the training, getting them the skill set. And I've seen it with some other programs that I wasn't so happy about. They train all these people up, but then they put them into this pigeonhole, right? And it's like, it's 3 jobs for 150 people. It's not realistic. You know what I mean? You help somebody, but then it's the reality of actually, occurring that or getting that job and holding it is really not there. So I think that's something that definitely, is always on my mind when we're talking about, programming and getting young people into these services. How do we get that commitment from either the city or different private organizations to say, hey, you have a phenomenal program. What you're doing is amazing. This is what we're going to commit to make sure that before we hire the next whatever, we'll take a percentage from your organization. And then lastly, go ahead. You wanted to answer that? I think you froze up a little bit. Go ahead.
I do. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So I just wanted to say, I hadn't had an opportunity to say that the city is definitely backing this program. We have been funded by the city for our pilot program. Our wonderful mayor, London Breed, she's come to our kickoff. She comes to our graduation. So she's very, I'm pretty sure that she is, watching and hoping that this is a program that gets some life and some traction and actually does make some true changes for some of our youth. We are backed by Director Davis with the Human Rights Commission and OEWD, and just building our partnerships, our healing circles. We do a lot of supportive services. So we do some group therapy, and we're working with Rafiki Coalition and partnership, like I said, with the fire department. We're trying to work with DPH because I am about the upward mobility. EMT is a great job, but as I say, it's a beginning. It's really an entry level into our first responder system. So I would be pushing, if it were my own child and you got your license, I'm now going to push and say you should get your paramedic license. You could probably make twice as much money and you're going on the same calls. And then, you fill them out. Maybe you want to be a nurse practitioner. If you can get this lingo down in this medical terminology to be an EMT, how come you can't be a doctor? Let's just get you some funding. Let's get you some scholarships. Let's get you some support. So I am definitely believing with this pilot program that we just completed that I feel like we're here to stay. I feel like we'll be talking 5th-year reunion with you at some point and saying high numbers in our data of what we have, where our people are, and sharing some success stories with you.
Well, I'll be here waiting. I want to hear them, and I want to make sure definitely community, we support you in a lot of the community programs, that have this leftover funding for different programs that's not really being beneficial. How do we get those funds to move to organizations like you, where we can increase that amount of stipend to our young people, because I think sometimes, that difference of, $2,000 or $3,000 a month could really change the paradigm for some of these young families. We have a lot of single parents I know go through these programs, but I'm glad you said that, because I'm an EMT. I still have my license. Matter of fact, I think mine is coming up, but I've had it for a long time.
Stop it.
I'm a first responder. I don't tell people that, but I
Okay.
used to do the first responder stuff for the track and field. And, I've always kept the license. When my daughter ran track, I was like one of the EMT parents. So I went through the whole EMT
Okay.
and all that. But one of the things that I did notice, and I'm glad you said it, was the pay. And I was like, wait a second. These EMTs put their life on the line. Usually they're first responders. Usually they're the ones pumping and gunning to the hospital. And when I started really doing the research, because originally when I did the school, and I went through that 16-week program, they had like a speed program. And at the time, the coaches was just looking for some parents to step up and do it. So I really wasn't looking at it for a career, but when I really started doing some in-depth research on like what the wages was, I was finding like some EMTs, like just looking on the average of the nation, was like $12, $13 an hour. It was ridiculous, right? And I'm like, how is that, right? And I think this is why I'm saying San Francisco always leads the way. I think EMTs and ambulance services really need to look at the employees, look at unionizing, to really increase the wages and the health and benefits, because I started doing a lot of research, and I would be on calls, and when I used to do my ride-alongs and things of that nature, and I would look at the costs from some of these people. They would complain about the bills. I was looking, man, $5,000-$6,000 to go 15 minutes away to the hospital. And, these poor EMTs are working 12, 14-hour shifts, sometimes all night for $12 an hour. $13 an hour was definitely I wasn't too happy with, but definitely, hopefully, with your program and doing some of the stuff you do, I think that's where our young people really need to work on, advocacy and looking at the unions. I know the union's been trying forever to unionize, and those owners, they don't want to unionize for a reason, so they can make those profits. Them avalanche companies, they are making bank. Anytime you get a $500 bill for 15 liters of oxygen, it's very costly. But yeah, I mean, definitely, hopefully in the future, as more people are getting into the industry, I think you guys' pilot program is definitely a stepping stone for the young people to get into the program. And I think as more young people get involved, and we get more young people who are aware and conscious, to really look at advocating, because I think, sometimes those first responders are in some of the deadliest and, messed up situations, and they definitely should get the compensation like some of the nurses and some of the, people in the hospital at the bedside that's making pretty good, decent wages. So advocacy is always there, hopefully within your program. And as more people start getting into it and start understanding, the costs, again, the organizations, those ambulance companies, the private companies, is always going to fight unionizing because they like those profits. It's good when they don't have to pay the employees a lot of money. But that's where we want to go, getting the wages up, more people get involved. I think that's very, very important. But wanted to jump into a couple of other things before I let you go. So the Fishing Well, tell me a little bit more of your nonprofit, Dusty's Fishing Well. How did that come about? What is the objective, the mission, the vision of Dusty's Fishing Well, and how do we use this programming to help impact our community?
Okay, so Dusty's Fishing Well that was the start of my nonprofit. For years, my mother and I spoke of charm school. I went to charm school. She was very high on like decorum and dining etiquette, and that she taught her 3 girls. We knew how to sit at a 4-course meal. You knew how to curtsy. And so for years, she and I talked about curriculum on that. She passed away in 2018, and that kind of became the wind behind my sail to just move forward and get it out there. So thus came the nonprofit, named after her nickname, which was Dusty. And then the Fishing Well was derived from an Asian proverb that she liked, which was, you can feed a man a fish. You can give a man a fish and feed him for a day, or you can teach him how to fish and then you feed him for life. So this is her fishing well. This is named after her in the sense that the tools and the gems that we're going to give you for life skills, you will take with you forever. And those are for our teenagers. So that component of our organization is for our 12 to 17-year-olds. We have done a few 1-week series in the Fillmore where it's stipend paid again, but we teach them dining etiquette. I had Fernay from Mini Bells come in and cater, and we did a 4-course meal, teaching them how to use the knives and the forks and plate language and napkins, how you summon the waiter. And we taught them dress and appearance, split them up by gender, and taught the girls, that bonnets are meant for indoors and why men should wear belts. We taught them how to clean your house, how to fold your sheets, how to fold your towels, how to clean your bathroom. We did a little bit of financial literacy. And what has been most popular with them is our health and wealth. Just recently, last Sunday, we completed a 4-week session. We did it on weekends, 2 hours each day, did virtual cooking, crock pot cooking with them. It's something that they can now take with them and do. So everybody has a crock pot. We proportioned out everything that they needed for each meal and did some virtual cooking with them. So those are the kinds of programming that we are looking to continue to do with Dusty's Fishing Well. It's much needed. I don't know if when you went to school, they had home ec, but when I went to Galileo, they still had home ec where they taught the girls how to sew and covered some life skills things. So some of those programming have gone by the wayside in the public schools. And then when you are looking at some of our target, looking at our community, some of those skills are not being able to be taught at home. So then you have these adults who have no life skills or are learning trial by fire, so to speak.
Wow, phenomenal. See, I'm just going to be honest here. I'm 41. And I did a lot of that when I was young. I got hit on my head by my mom a lot. So I think I'm traumatized when it comes to etiquette. But I did learn it. But I forgot, so I'm going to be real. I remember some of it. Sometimes every time I want to do it right, I think I'll get hit in my head. But I think we should have it for the adults in the community as well. It's been a while. I mean, I forget sometimes how to place my forks and stuff. I'm just being honest. Like, over the years, I've lost so much of that. And I think it's because I've been traumatized. My mom used to always hit me on my head every time I did something wrong when it comes to eating right. We have to take the spoon and we have to take our soup and we don't eat it this way.
Yes.
You have to roll out. I still
no
spill it on it.
And then any of that.
I hit my head up, self in the head and say, now, your mama taught you to do it the other way. Why are you doing it?
Right.
How to use it, how to use a spoon to pick up your spaghetti noodles, like just basic stuff that I know. But again, it is important to learn that. I think our young people need to learn that. But I think some of our elders of the community need to learn that. You probably need to open up and expand the program for everybody.
I know.
I go out sometimes.
That's what we were talking about that, especially with the financial literacy. And so program that we're looking to kind of make more of a program. We bring one adult and one teenager to provide the programming, and then it can fold back to the dinner table, which is the traditional place where all the generations within a household kind of sit and rehash what's going on in the family, what's going on in the day. And if we can change that conversation to talk about finances, which I don't think that we do enough of in our community, right? Not just like, don't be asking me for them Jordans. I don't have any money for that. But did you see that Tesla went up $50 today, and why? Right? Did you see that crypto was tanking, and why? Those are the conversations that we would like in our financial literacy program to teach them how to transition back into their home. So that's one program that's on our foresight. So look for that one to come.
Well, definitely, we definitely need to collaborate. I'm big on financial literacy. I teach my young people the same thing. Everything you buy a stock in it. You buy $200 worth of Jordans, buy $200 worth of that stock in Nike. So definitely,
Absolutely.
That education and that conversation we will continue to keep having here as well. So definitely, we need to connect on that. And I'm still laughing in my head about the 4-course meal. We haven't got to 7, so I couldn't tell you after 7 anymore. But because
more glasses and more silverware. It's more glasses and more silverware, right? And dessert and coffee. Like there's a hot drink in there. And you gonna do that one day. Okay, I got you now. Now I know what you need. Now I know what you need.
Listen, I don't want to embarrass you. I probably can't. I'm sorry. I'm so bad. If my mama is watching right now, she probably gonna throw me in the back.
I'm sorry,
because I know she worked on that with us, but I forgot a lot of it. I still go to the restaurants and be like, oops, So it's definitely a lot of work. But I think having that etiquette class is definitely something that we do need to bring back. When I was in high school, we did have a lot of that stuff, and I think that's what's failing in our community. A lot of the young women are not getting that skill set, and I think some of that also leads to some of the issues that we have when we talk about relationships and things of that nature. But getting our young people to know how to fold up a sheet set, how to iron clothes, how to prepare a meal, how to do a lot of those things. We losing it. More and more. You look at what's going on out here, and people eat out more than they cook. And I thought that was one thing that the pandemic would teach people is when the restaurants is closed, you would have to cook. It was so many people eating box salads and things of that nature. So we got to use your program. We got to promote your program. We got to get our sisters and brothers into your program so we can teach them how to cook and clean and fold and do that. And, it's too many housekeepers out here, right? And I'm guilty of it too. I got a housekeeper too, so I'm guilty of it. But yeah,
I think you just need to know how. Like, how do you know? So my mom was this, because I used to tell her, well, I don't understand why we have to learn how to clean if you're also teaching me how to be successful. Because trust me, if I'm successful, I won't become my mama. And her thing was, how do you know that you're not getting cheated by the housekeeper if you don't even know how it's supposed to look before you hire her or him?
Hey,
so she always
if they don't know, that's how they get got. I learned the basics, right? Always look behind the tough spots, check all the baseboards, and always.
Yes.
If they don't hit those areas, they're not a good housekeeper because that's the
area. You're not coming back. Yeah, you're
right.
not coming back.
So that's definitely
well, I'm definitely looking to collaborate. I want to work more with my overall goal in the height of the racial equity, and just what I feel is the vibe in our city and county is we have to grab each other's hands as these organizations that say that they're trying to do this work. And we have to be a united front for our community, right? So if I'm doing financial literacy or I'm doing etiquette, who can I partner with that's already doing something similar? And we grab a hold. It's our same kids. We got to be able to work together. That's my spiel to my fellow organizations out here, is that I really want us to be able to work together and be a united front to make a true impact in our community. Now is the time.
I definitely agree with you. And I think it starts by, people being open, and really understand what is beneficial for community and, the organizations that work with young people, making sure that type of programming is put in the budget, because I think so many times you're right. We don't teach our young men about belts. We don't teach our young ladies about that etiquette. And I think anybody running those type of programs, before we send our young people off, we want to give them that opportunity, because I'm going to tell you, if you don't get it, when you get to the South, they going to embarrass you, because in the South, they get it in the South. When you go to the South, everybody, they own their etiquette. They know. No, we got to teach. We have to definitely teach that.
Everybody is yes, sir, and no man in the South. Yes, sir, no man all day. You're right.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Absolutely.
It took me till I was about 24 to realize it my first time going out to the South, and everybody was saying, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. And I'm from California. I'm like, man, don't say nothing to me, but it was just, people, the way, the fellas would open the doors, the way the hospitality was, that Southern hospitality is real. And we definitely need to get that back. It was really a part of our community. But I know some people always say that it was always attached to the slavery and the stuff that we had to do. I think that's why some people rebel against it. But definitely when you're out at restaurants and you eat and you see all the people, you go, man, we don't have no etiquette or nothing out here. But definitely, you're on the right path. I know you're a part of a lot of the organizations that are trying to collaborate and work together. We're trying to get organized to have that impact. And I think you have a powerful voice. And that's one of the reasons why, we wanted to make sure that we highlight you, uplift what you're doing to support you and your endeavors. And, just give you your flowers while you're here doing the work in the community. And I know you're passionate about our young people. And I know that was the biggest thing for me, making sure that, community know where you at. If there's any families out there looking to get their young people in some kind of, pathway or into something that's productive and positive. The city EMT program is definitely the information is up there on the screen, the phone number, reach out to Attica Connect. But yeah, I'm definitely looking at figuring out some kind of way that we could connect and with some of the organizations, because a lot of the stuff you're doing is definitely impactful, especially with our young people, with the fishing. I think that was very beautiful how you put that up about the skill set of what fishing means. And I also think it's a component of mental health. The biggest thing with fishing is, that alone time, that quietness, that thinking while you're in the process of trying to catch that fish. There's a lot of downtime. And I think in our community, our young people are moving so fast. And I think sometimes we need to remove them out of the movement and kind of slow them down. And I think that's what fishing does. It's a lot of thinking, I have
I didn't think about that, John Henry, but that is very good. And I agree with you. If I can say how it used to be back in the day was you went down south for the summer, right? So back in the day, because we were still so close generation wise to the migration out of the South, that for all the city kids, right? Your parents have moved out of the South. You go back down summer and hang out with your country cousins where it is quiet, where it's about crickets and lightning bugs, fishing, making a fishing rod. Like, we're not even talking about going to the store to buy one, but we're about to show you how to make one, and we're going to dig in the dirt, grab some worms, and we're going to, that has gone by the wayside. So you're right. I didn't even think about the mental health component of fishing. That's a good one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I'm a fisherman. I come from a family of fishermen, and there's a lot of great places right here in the Bay Area, a lot of great lakes in Napa and, and Rio Vista and across the Bay Area, even in the marina. There's some good places depending on what type of fish you're trying to fish for. But we have some great lakes, some great quiet spaces right out here, 20, 30 minutes outside of the city. You can get up into Sonoma County and, get up in the hills up in there. And there's some good fishing holes, man. We go up there to the dams all the time and fish and kick back. My family, that's just something that we would always do. And it's just a good time for bonding and a good time to have conversation. And I think that's why I'm bringing it up, because, that's one of the things that me and Nate talked about, and some of the fellas in the community, getting some of the young males together and really having a conversation with them, because that's that downtime, nothing's going on, you're hearing crickets and animals walking through, and while you're trying to catch a fish, you got to be quiet, and then wild fishing, teaching the young man not to have the bass mentality, right? Because, if you're a fisherman out there, bass have 3-second memory, right? After they almost get hooked, they can get released. In 3 seconds, they'll come back to that same hook because they got short-term memory, right? So we always tell our young people, my young people, don't have bass memory. When I go mentor my kids at juvenile, I always tell them, oh, you back again, huh? You had that bass memory. So we always say we try to break that bass memory. So, I'm always putting my little gems to them.
Okay.
I always incorporate all of it. You got to incorporate nature to the human thought process. And sometimes these kids learn different, but when you break it down to them in different ways, they get it. And I always tell them, don't have bass mentality, because a bass could get hooked one time, in 3 seconds he'll forget he almost got hooked and go after the same bait and get caught. So, I always use that analogy when I'm in the juvenile halls and I'm in the jails working with my the men in the community that's locked up. I always tell them, don't be a bass. So, that short-term memory, it gets you.
Right.
And don't be a big mouth bass. Everything you see look good, don't open your mouth for it. You know what I mean? So, definitely, definitely powerful stuff.
Okay.
See, it's a lot of fun here, both sides of the conversation. No, but seriously, thank you, for the things that you're doing. I think you have some phenomenal programming.
Absolutely.
Some programming that we could definitely use in our community, because I think, part of curbing some of this violence is getting kids in a different environment. I do a lot of, research when I talk to the kids about what is it that they want to do. And, it's pretty sad when we have kids here in the city that's never even been to Sacramento, never been to Oakland, never been out of California. And I think we really, as programming, and I've been trying to talk to more and more organizations of how do we get young people out of the city to see something different? How do we get kids to take them to a place like Atlanta or to the South where they see more people that look like them that's doing positive things, right? Take a bunch of kids we do have the college tours, right? That happens, right? But typically that programming is set up for young scholars, right? I'm talking about the knuckleheads of the community. How do we get the knuckleheads of the community out to see something different? Because I think traveling is definitely something that opened that pathway to change, right? Because I believe the real change
It does.
Changing people, places, and things, right? So sometimes if we take the people that's impacting the community negatively, get them out of the community and show them something positively, it awakens that consciousness to know that there are opportunities, right? If you tell a kid about the Big Apple, but he never seen, it's like, hey, I'm stuck here. I ain't gonna never get there, right? But if you actually get them to New York or get them to the South or get them to some other place and actually show them there is an opportunity, there is something greater than where you live at, and it's something bigger than just you, I think we really could impact the young people and also getting them out of the country. Sometimes here in America, our kids forget about how blessed they are, even in our impoverished communities. You take them to some other countries and they see other stuff and they like, oh, then they come back home and have a different appreciation. It's a little bit of a mind shift for programming because a lot of people don't believe the impact. But I think just getting our young people out, getting them on the airplane, showing them how to book a hotel and doing some of this stuff really enriches them. I'm a believer in it. I know a lot of people think it's not really a great investment, but I really believe it. And I talk to a lot of the young people and they're just like, man, I
am not. So I'm not of that belief. That's not of my belief. I will tell you two visions that I have that I had already spoke of that I know will come to fruition. So one for the Dusty's Fiction Wheel, speaking with members of our community to do a city kid meets Southern kid. I have ties in Tennessee for us to do etiquette and manners cross training where they are taught the same things here in the Bay Area. And we have a group of young adults there, or young teenagers, and then we do a cross trip. They come from the South and visit here and see what it's like to live in the city, and then we go there see what it's like to live in the South. So what they get is they do get the difference, but they also get the commonality. We have some of the same hopes and dreams. And then for the city EMT is to do our long-term vision is to connect with EMS administration in Ghana, in Accra, and do a global travel out there, bring supplies if that's what they needed, but also to see what they do and show different it is. I will tell you, when I went to Ghana in 2018, just to talk about the difference, I said, well, what kind of runs do you guys do? He said, well, we rescue cows, because we don't do cow runs in San Francisco, right? Just to show, like, it's different. We have the same licensing and the same scope of work, but not quite. So I just thought it was good. And I've always remembered that going to visit them, the amenities at the firehouses are not the same, but the overall goal of putting your life on the line is the same. So I definitely have what you have envisioned is we are aligned, John Henry, and the things that we want for our community. I know that you and I are going to have a lot further talks over, a couple of 7-course, 6-course, 5-course meals, but we'll get it together.
That 7-course meal. I'm gonna embarrass you. Don't hold me. You better give me your training. You better send me back to your training before we have that 7-course meal.
Right. So I think that we're aligned. You know, I'm looking forward to. I thank you for giving me this platform so freely, as we don't really know each other, but I'm sure that this will continue on so that we can stay aligned. And I just definitely want to thank you for one, just the work that you're doing. It's tireless sometimes, it's thankless sometimes, but it's needed, and you are making an impact. So just by giving your time to these kinds of platforms and the things that you need to do to make this run. So I say thank you for that. And I'm just looking forward to doing more with you and with both sides of the conversation.
Definitely, you family now. You welcome here anytime you need to come on to promote anything, any digital flyers or anything like that. Send it to us. And I know we both gonna be working together on some of that on that committee. So I know we'll be seeing each other more for the SF Block committee, and that's just really what it is. But the thing about Ghana, about the cows, is because it's a commodity, right? So they care about their commodities. So
yes, yeah, we got to get that cow. You got to say cow.
You got to say the cow. Yeah, we got to eat that cow. So
yes.
Yes. So yeah, definitely. I'm definitely looking forward to connecting with you. Definitely, our visions is I'm kind of like Majig always say. I'm just always out there with ideas. I'm always thinking, and I see you a thinker. But definitely, we need to put some of these things together because working collaboratively is really what I'm really trying to push and hope that we could do as organizational leaders, as community leaders. And not reinventing the wheel. How do we take these ideals, partner them together, and make something happen? It's always better with more than one. But sometimes, pushing that agenda and getting people to really get on board in the line, sometimes it's a struggle. And, we're going to keep fighting the fight. I'm going to keep advocating for it. I'm only going to support the people that's really about working and supporting with each other. A lot of times I tell people the personal stuff, we have to leave to the side. We're trying to do something good for the community and for our people. We got to put the personal stuff and do the business. But then sometimes, it just can't happen. But again, you got a lot of great ideas. I definitely want to put some of them things and let's put them into play because I've been trying to get to Ghana. I found out I got Nigerian in blood, so I got to go now. I got some Ghana in my blood, so I got to get out there. But definitely, we're here to support you. Anytime you need the platform to come on, if you got a new cohort or class going or anything you need to get information to the community, please get that stuff to us so that we get it out to the families of the community and make sure that people are connected because I think what you're doing is very important. And then we got to figure out how we get community to support your program and get some of the other job-ready programs to help support as well so that we can, boost the stipends for our young people so that they can stay in the program. It's hard for single dads and single moms out there struggling. And it'd be nice to get some of these programs to really support and help each other and uplift. I think that's a good contribution to our community. So powerful stuff. But with that being said, before we end, is there anything else you want to say to community or anything you want to say before we get ready to check out here tonight? Not the 7-course meal because I ain't ready yet.
I just want to say that I'm looking forward to continued work in the community. It's the first time that you heard of us, Dusty's Fishing Well and or City MT. Look for more. Look for us to be out there more visible, more available, and offering more programming and support to the community. And thank you.
Powerful stuff. Thank you very much. Just glad to have you here tonight. Honored to have you. You were the only hidden gem tonight. You held it down. We almost went 52 minutes. So look at you. You did pretty good. But with that being said, community, I want to go ahead and say to community, this Thursday, we will have another educational Thursday. We'll have Cynthia and Sean coming back. They're going to educate the community about how to prepare for our young people when it comes to college and different financial strategies to help our young kids in the community. Going to be very, very, very great conversation, a great PowerPoint presentation. They do a phenomenal job. They're a great tag team They've been coming back and forth here now 3 or 4 times, blessing our community with financial literacy, insurance, things of that nature, giving our community the sauce, the gems, the information that we need to better this financial paradigm that me and Attica have been talking about. Financial literacy, we got to keep pushing it in the Black and brown community. We got to make this an everyday thing. We got to make it habit. We got to change this in our community. So many people are impacted by the lack of financial literacy as we try to work together to close the wealth gap in our communities. And it starts with financial literacy and being prepared, being proactive and not reactive. So looking forward to this Thursday educational presentation. And then this Sunday, we'll have our community conversation. We're going to be talking about toxic masculinity. We got a couple panelists that's going to be coming on to help facilitate that conversation. Hopefully we'll get a couple more phenomenal brothers and sisters of the community to come on and let's talk about this toxic masculinity. And then next Tuesday, we'll have another show of our hidden gems where we'll continue to highlight our Black and brown businesses and our community leaders. Like Attica here, we're going to continue to bring them on, introduce them to the community, connect them with the community, and make sure that the information and the services get out there to the community. So with that being said, thank you all for tuning in to tonight's segment of Hidden Gems. We will see you this Thursday. Be safe out there. Continue to stay blessed. Look out for the young people. Look out for the old people in the community or the elders of the community, and make sure that they have the things that they need. Don't invite me to no 7-course meals. I'm not ready yet, but we will see y'all this Thursday.